this is for Kelly and basically the synergy and rotation explanation for Arcane Mage currently in the current tier. Um, so, like a Mythic Plus, basically you want to start out with your Radiant Spark and then follow with your Arcane Surge. And then I actually have, um, so I have my, if you look over here, I have my Elemental Potion of Power, my Nether Tempest, and my Touch of the Magi all macroed to this button. So that's all happening when I push that button. So this is like your first three buttons right here, your first three rotations, your Radiant Spark, your Arcane Surge, and then your Touch of the Magi macro. And then in Mythic Plus, when you do AoE targets, you will want to when you do your Touch of the Magi macro, you'll gain 4 arcane energy immediately, right, or arcane charges, right off the bat. And then you'll just want to start spending them with your Arcane Barrage. And because of the synergy between your Arcane Barrage and your procking, depending on how many arcane charges you have, it'll proc an Arcane Orb to shoot out. Um, and it's basically just your two buttons right here, Arcane Barrage and Arcane Orb, and the synergy behind them. So we'll go through it real quick. And then when I run out of everything, when I run out of orbs and everything, I go in an Arcane Explosion, and then I have an orb back, I can do that. So it's really just a synergy, and I try and keep Nether Tempest up by pushing the macro. If you push the macro while a Touch of Magi is on cooldown, it'll still put up Nether Tempest. And I try and put Nether Tempest up pretty much, I have a little weak lore for it, pretty much all the time. I try to. It's not like huge priority, but it's pretty big priority. And remember, the more arcane charges you have, your Nether Tempest will do more damage. So try and have 4 arcane charges before you activate your Nether Tempest through your Touch of the Magi macro. I hope this made a little sense to you. Other things to keep in mind, just little things like try and keep your mass barrier up all the time, off the 2-minute cooldown. When your mass barrier goes off, you can use your prismatic barrier. I also have a macro, a cancel macro for ice block. So if you want, I can give you this macro too. It's just a little, I ice block, and then if I push it again, it cancels it. There is like a little weird cooldown, but if I push it again, it cancels it. Other than that, when you're doing one targets, I think the best thing, I haven't really figured out single target yet without running out of a whole lot of mana. But when you're doing single target, I usually like, I don't know, like a couple seconds before the boss pulls, I'll do my evocation first because that'll give us like a big buff, and then your mirror images, and then I'll start off with the regular rotation, and then go into, of course, Arcane Blast for single target. Oh, and I do have for my Arcane Blast, I have my Arcane Blast. Um, I have it macroed to my Presence of Mind. So every time Presence of Mind is off cooldown, I'll get 2 free Arcane Blasts. And it's generally, um, the 2 that I need. It doesn't really matter which 2 it is, which is if it's the first 2 or the last 2. Any free Arcane Blast is going to be great. Unless you're like really out of mana, then it's going to be a waste. But generally, you don't run out of mana. Remember, mana generation comes from Arcane Surge and your Evocation. They both give mana, so, just remember that. And in Raid Spec, generally in Raid Spec, you'll have mana gen you'll back into Mana Gem, so you'll have Mana Gem. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know, Kelly. Hope this helped a little bit. And you can see on multi-target, whenever my um, Arcane Orb would proc like it just procced, you don't hit your Arcane Orb to waste it, because it procced and you have 4. You can just hit Arcane Barrage again. So that's sort of the synergy behind it. Okay, thanks, Kelly. Hopefully you watch this and it helps.